Well, thank you, everybody. Welcome. I'm so glad you guys could all make it out on this sort of blustery, rainy night. We cannot keep up with the weather around here these days. So my name is Leanne Carpenter. This is CJ Hall, and we're really excited to share essential oils with you guys. They've made a huge difference in my health and home, and I know that they can do the same for all of you guys. So we're going to kind of go over a lot of different information tonight. It's going to kind of hit you with a lot of stuff. Don't feel like you have to memorize anything. There is some good information on your handouts you have there, and you can take those home with you. But CJ and I are also here, and we're available to you in the next coming days. If you're digesting this and you've got questions and things, you can reach out to both of us. And we can also connect you with a whole community of resources as well. So great. So you're welcome to kind of, if you want, you can take notes, but there won't be a test or anything, so no pressure. And I'll just go ahead and get started by kind of sharing how I came to know these little bottles of magic. As we mentioned, I've been an esthetician for a little over 12 years. And it was actually a client, this lovely lady over here, who came into my work one day and shared these oils with me. She gave me 2 little samples and introduced me to a class pretty similar to this one. One of those oils that she gave me was lavender. And we're going to go ahead and pass these around as we talk. And just feel free to kind of smell them as we go along. We've got a couple different bottles. So lavender is one we're probably all pretty familiar with. It's kind of always been one of my favorites, but this one's very pure, very, very rich scented. And it's definitely one of my favorites. It's great for calming anxiety, lowering stress. You can use it for burns, bug bites. It also, of course, it'll help you to sleep. Lots and lots of ways you can use lavender. And I had always used it in my practice to kind of help calm my clients down and things like that as well. Oh, good. Okay, yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to run on all the Thank you so much.
Have them going everywhere. So as an esthetician, I was interested in this because, I became an esthetician not because I'd always had great skin. I had struggled with my skin most of my life, which is what got me into that profession. Mostly with acne. It was something I struggled with as a teenager. Got worse in my 20s and has stuck right through my 30s now. I'd also had some other issues going on with my own health. Nothing debilitating. I was dealing with mostly digestive issues, which I think a lot of us have these days. Things like all widespread joint pain through my whole body, fatigue, just tired all the time. You'd wake up in the morning, I was tired. Halfway through the day, you come home from work and you're just kind of useless. And then depression was kind of sneaking into that whole list. And when I met CJ back in, I think it was September, October, these things were really getting worse for me. And the digestive issues I'd had had gone on for maybe 8 years. So this was a big thing, and I was starting to really wonder, okay, how is this related? How does this all come together? And the day that I went to that first class, I actually had such bad joint pain that I almost couldn't get out of bed that day. I almost couldn't use my right hand. I couldn't grip anything. And I mean, keep in mind, I'm 31, and it's like, what is going on? This can't be normal, So I almost didn't go because it was such a rough day, but I kind of realized, I might learn something that's going to help this, so I should just make my way over there. And it was an amazing class. They had a great teacher. Everything smelled so great. And as we were talking, I kind of rubbed this muscle rub in, which I will share with you as well. And about 10 minutes into the talk, all of a sudden, my hand didn't hurt anymore. And I was like, okay, I'm going to pay attention to this. This is really interesting. So it just made me kind of go down that path of really learning more. I dug into all the resource books and talked to the wonderful community of people I met. And it just seemed like it all came back to my gut issues, and that was sort of the catalyst here. That's where everything comes through for us. So I focused mainly on that and using these oils and also some supplements that this company makes. I have not had any issues for the past 6-7 months. So after years and years of that, it's pretty much gone away. So that was huge for me, and it was very empowering. So, that's kind of what I want you guys to be able to feel when you leave here, that you've got these natural, healthy tools at your hands, and you can use them with whatever you have going on in your own life. If you would like, just kind of start thinking, perhaps you can write it down. I've got pens if you want to, but just kind of think about maybe some of your top 3 health things that might be plaguing you or just in the back of your mind. And at the end of the class, we'd be happy to sit down with you, and maybe we can kind of tailor some ideas of things that would be useful. So that's a good way to go. I'm going to pass around orange now. This is wild orange. This is always a favorite. It's so fresh smelling. Wild orange is invigorating. It's uplifting. It's a really great mood booster. It kind of helps create happy feelings. And it's also great for, it promotes stomach and liver function as well. So I love that one. It's really, right? You don't want to let it go. Exactly. It's really fantastic.
I have my own now.
Plenty for all. Great. So if you look at your handouts here, essential oils are kind of becoming this sort of big buzzword. I think I have the wrong lid. You hear a lot of companies promoting that they're using essential oils in their products, and a lot of people are using them in sort of the health and wellness movement in general. But essential oils are not new. This is not some new fad that's just popped up. In fact, they've been around for thousands of years. So if you look at the top of your little sheet there, there's a little timeline. So if we go back all the way to ancient Egypt, they used essential oils in their burials, their ceremonies, cosmetics, certainly just in their own health remedies. There's even stories about tomb robbers that would go, they had these tombs with gold and, rubies and whatever, and the only thing that was stolen was the essential oils in there. So you can see how important this was in those times. And then if you're following along on our little timeline here, we get to Hippocrates, the father of Western medicine. He used essential oils in his practice. I think he was really big with oregano oil, and that's a very potent, strong oil that we still use today. Moving forward into frankincense and myrrh, of course we all know the story of the wise men bringing frankincense to the Christ child. And in fact, these are some oils that are wonderful to use on a newborn baby. A little frankincense on the crown of their head right after they're born will kind of help that bonding experience. You can use myrrh on the umbilical cord to help that heal up. And these same oils, of course, will also help the mother after recovering from having a baby. So we kind of feel like the wise men brought them for Mary as much as baby Jesus. And then we go forward into World War II. A lot of soldiers were given Melaleuca, tea tree oil, in their kits because of all of the first aid benefits that delivers. So that was kind of just a staple they had with them. And then we get into 2008, and that's when this company came about, Doterra. And this is the company that I use because it's one that is, it has certified pure therapeutic grade oils, which you just can't find most places. So, so that's kind of your little timeline of how far back this goes. So what are essential oils exactly? So a lot of they're plant extracts. I'm most of us could probably surmise that much. If you look at this little photo here, there's these little round guys here, and they're there because they're the plant's natural self-defense mechanism. So when the plant is compromised, it uses this to restore itself back to its own state of health. The good news is this works the same way in our own bodies. So we take these, we use them either aromatically, topically, internally, and they will help restore us back to our own natural state of health. So let's go ahead and pass around. We'll do peppermint. So I kind of just want to talk to you guys about how potent these oils are. 1 drop of peppermint is the equivalent to 28 cups of peppermint tea. Not 1 bottle, just 1 little drop. These are incredibly powerful oils. You only need that tiny, tiny amount to be effective. So when you're using these oils, what you're doing is we're absorbing these into our circulatory system. So basically, and that will happen in about 30 seconds. We breathe it in, we put it on our skin. Then within 20 minutes, that 1 little drop is going to service every single cell in our entire bodies. So it's really an effective way to use these oils. And can be an affordable way to kind of treat your whole family. There's about 275 drops per bottle. So, you know, that's a lot of uses you can get out of them. So then we can go on to Melaleuca. This one's a little low, but I think we've got a couple of those. So you guys will probably be familiar with this fragrance as well, tea tree oil. A lot of these are oils that you kind of want to just bathe in. They smell so good. This one's a little more on the medicinal smelling side. Yeah, you probably may not want to put this all over, but
you never leave the house without it.
Yeah, it's incredible. So Melaleuca is really a helpful oil. It has so many benefits. You can use it for any kind of skin irritation, blemishes, cold sores. It's immune, helps to against seasonal threats. Athlete's foot. Do you have any other fantastic? Antifungal, absolutely. Yeah.
It is a very powerful antimicrobial. So
Yeah.
disinfectant. You use it in home cleansers, any kind of hygiene products.
Right. Very cleansing. So this Melaleuca comes from Australia. Where of course it grows naturally. The Aborigines used these for centuries. They would crush the leaves and breathe them in to promote healthy breathing. They would put them on their skin for the cooling effects. So again, you know, just centuries of use with Melaleuca. So real quick, I'm going to just kind of touch on, there's a lot of questions. Well, okay, so just a really quick little remedy for Melaleuca. If you're starting to feel a little bit of a scratchy throat, you can take Melaleuca, just put a little bit on your finger and touch it to the tip of your tongue every 5 minutes for about 25 minutes. And if you do it you catch it early, a lot of times it'll just kind of nip that right in the bud. So it's another really good little remedy you can use yourself. So with that in mind, we'll talk a little bit about safety with oils. There's a lot of questions about this. And I know, having been, again, an esthetician, and I was also a massage therapist for some years, they were these amazing tools we had, but there was always this fear around them, use them but be so careful. And there was worries about allergic reactions, pregnancy, all of that. So it is true, these are potent. You do need to be kind of careful with them, but the main issue most people have with them is because most essential oils are padded with fillers and synthetic fragrances. And most of the time, if you're going to have a reaction to an oil, it's usually because of that synthetic fragrance that's in there. All of us have reactions to that all the time. So really quick, just the reason I use Doterra is because they're very, very different. They made purity and quality a really high priority. There's no governing body that tests essential oils. So Doterra made their own standard, and they made it really high. And so if you look on all of the bottles, it says certified pure, CPTG, which stands for certified pure therapeutic grade. So what that means is that every single bottle goes through, I believe, 13 levels of testing from the time of harvest to when it's sold to you. It also means that all of these oils are collected around the world from their natural environment. So the reason that that's so important is because all of these plants, when they're grown in their natural environment, they have all of the right soil, the right humidity, the right climate to give it the most healthy plant there is. So kind of think about a tomato. I don't know how many of you guys grow tomatoes in your backyard in the summer, or you have friends that do. It's so good, right? I mean, you take a bite and there's color and flavor, and it just, you can feel it like absorbing into your body. So compare that then to the tomato you buy at the grocery store in the middle of January. It's not even the same fruit anymore, right? So this is kind of like that same equivalent to that, like organic, grown in the right season, and that's why they do this. So there are other really good quality essential oils out there, other companies, but not a ton of them. So I just would recommend that you do your own research before you're using these. Yes?
And I do agree with what you just said, but even with these, I have to cut it with coconut oil.
Yes, yes.
I will break out even
Be sensitive.
with the purity of these.
And that's absolutely true. So that's going to feed right into our next part, is how we use these oils. So there's basically 3 different ways you're going to use oils. You're either going to breathe them in aromatically, which is what we've been doing, right? So I'm going to hand around Breathe. This is our Respiratory Blend. So it'll kind of open up your airways. It's really invigorating that way. I use this a lot in the mornings. It helps with congestion. You can put a drop or 2,
2 weeks ago.
right? You're sick maybe then?
Allergies.
Yeah, me too, yeah. I use it, sometimes I'll put a couple drops in the bottom of the shower, and then it kind of steams around you and creates this really nice aromatic spa-like experience, which is a nice way to start your day. Got it?
Yeah.
Okay. So breathing them in aromatically is a really great way to, you can just breathe it like we're doing. You can use, we've got 2 diffusers going in the room right now as well. A diffuser is a really great way to use the oils because it's an affordable way and it treats everyone in the room. So just using 1 or 2 drops in the diffuser, you're treating the entire room. So it's a really awesome way to use them. Another thing is with aromatic use, it's also the quickest way to affect your mood. So your limbic system in your brain is neighbors with your olfactory gland. So when you breathe something in, your limbic system immediately goes to work identifying what that fragrance is and where it belongs as far as emotions and memories go. So if you've ever been somewhere and you know, a scent comes along and it takes you back to another time and place, that's this system at work. So another neat thing about that is that the compounds in these oils, they work very immediately. So you can actually train your limbic system to respond in a certain way to certain oils. So I'm going to pass around Serenity. This is one of my favorites. This is our Sleepy Time blend. And we kind of can't live without this anymore in our life. We diffuse it every night, she's gonna hold on to it. So I'll put this on before bed and my brain immediately knows to go to sleep. And within a couple of minutes, I'm just out like a light. And I think it just smells like lavender chocolate, which is just,
Yes, it does.
right? That's what I get from it.
With some clove.
Yeah, it's just that nice little bit at the end of the day. It's a good option there. So aromatically is a very effective way to use these oils. So the next way you're probably going to use oils is topically. So, and this is going to fall right into what you were asking. So topically means you're just going to put them right on your skin, right? So there's a couple ways you can do that. You can put it directly on a specific area of concern. So you burn your finger, you can immediately put some lavender on it. Your tummy's hurting, maybe rub a little ginger. Neck and shoulders, you might use our deep blue or our white fur into those muscles on your, wherever you're sore. Another, so actually while we do that, I'll go ahead and pass around deep blue. So just use a tiny pea-size amount if you would like. And just rub it into your neck and shoulders. Just a little bit goes a really long way. This is what I used when I was in that first class, and I rubbed into my hand and it just totally stopped hurting. This is also what got my husband really excited about this, because I came home from the class and I was all excited about everything. He's like, yeah, okay, it sounds great. The next day, there was a tiny little sample, and he used some on his back, and he's like, what was that? He's like, my back doesn't hurt anymore. So that was a great one. So when you're using them, so again, you can use them directly. Yeah, so you'll notice that nice warming sensation feels great on those muscles. It does not feel good in your eye, so please do not now touch your eyeball after rubbing that in. So that's a great little reminder there. So the other way you can use them topically is you can use the bottoms of your feet, like reflexology points. So we have 70,000 nerve endings in the bottoms of our feet, which means it's just a great way to utilize these. Again, it's going to be absorbed into your circulatory system, go through your whole body. So you can use these a couple different ways. You can either use the oils neat, like we did with the lavender or something like that, meaning you can just put it directly on your skin. The other way is to dilute it with a carrier oil. If you have real sensitive skin, that's going to be a recommendation. We have our fractionated coconut oil here, which fractionated just means that it won't harden on you. And I also brought jojoba oil. So that is another way. You can also get these to go a long way that way, because you'll use a good amount of your oil, your carrier oil, and just a couple drops of the essential oil. It helps to be able to rub it into a larger body area, and especially if you're using them on someone who's more elderly, or especially children, you're going to want to dilute it that way. And then using those feet points are a great way, especially kids are very, they respond really quickly to it that way, and that's a safe way to use it on them. Another quick tip with oils, some of the oils, again, are a little bit more hot oils. So especially like oregano is one of the strong, cinnamon, those are real strong ones. Those you absolutely want to dilute. Something to keep in mind, so if you ever use an oil and it's like, wow, this feels strong, this is starting to burn, our initial response is to quickly run to water. Water spreads oil, do not do that. So even if you want to just grab your olive oil off of the kitchen counter, that's what's going to get rid of. So just in general with essential oils, if something's too strong, use a plain oil with it. So we'll also go ahead and pass around frankincense. This is one of my favorites. So I don't know how many of you have smelled straight frankincense. My initial, I think there's another one over here somewhere. My initial use with frankincense was like incense, you know, which is nice, but it's very, very strong. And this, as it passes around, we'll get to that back row too. It's kind of a very soft smell. It's really a gentle, soft fragrance. Frankincense is called the king of oils, and the reason for that is that you can use it for just about everything. It is amazing for sleep. It helps with sleep. It helps helps regenerate cancer. It helps regenerate cells, so you're going to get new cell growth there. It helps with brain health. It will actually pass through the blood-brain barrier, which most things cannot do. So that means it can actually go in and repair and reverse damage. It's a really important oil. I mean, it's also one of the best ones for your skin. It'll kind of help with any kind of skin imperfection. As an esthetician, I use this every day. What's your favorite way to use frankincense? There's so many different things.
I call it Doterra duct tape. I use
Yeah,
it on everything.
duct tape. Yeah, it's whatever you need. Grab frankincense.
For complexion, you add it to like
An oil.
oil and just
Yeah, I have a little.
use it as a moisturizer or something? Or?
I use it under my tongue in the morning. I use it for brain health, like brain fog and cognitive issues related to Lyme disease. So I've used it for that internally, but I've also used it for like spider veins, crow's feet. Used it on my dog for warbles and warts and things like that.
Yeah, it's a great one. I have just a little blend with some witch hazel, and I'll put frankincense and geranium and lavender in there and just mist myself. It's awesome, really great. So the next way to use these essential oils, and again, this is with only super, super high quality oils. I will not tell you to do this with something you're just gonna grab off the shelf at Walmart or something. And that is, you can use them internally. A lot of these oils you can. So you can just put it right under your tongue. You can put it in your water. I'm gonna pass around lemon. This one I use in my water every morning. It's detoxifying. It's a great detox.
Can you see in hot water?
It can. You can
Does
even.
it break it down?
No, I was wondering that too, and I sometimes will maybe not let it go full boil, but you can cook with them. You can.
We have 26 oils.
Right.
Right.
So I know I ran out of like fresh herbs, and I went and grabbed my oil to season my chicken or my fish or something. You know, again, these are very strong. You're using like 1 to 2 drops, maybe. The peppermint we've used in brownies. Oh my goodness, so good. We used them in hot chocolate over Christmas time. That was really fun. And if you're putting them in your water, the one thing to keep in mind is that you want to make sure you're using glass or like a metal container. If you're using plastic or styrofoam, it's going to break that down, and then you're drinking your cup as well. So you don't want to do that. Using them internally, of course, is going to be a very potent way to use these oils.
Capsule too.
Yes, you can use a veggie capsule. So if like you don't like the taste, like say Melaleuca, just put it in a little veggie capsule and take it right away. So now we'll get to our On Guard. This is our protective blend. You're going to recognize this scent. It's clove as one of the main ingredients. It's strong. So it smells a lot like Christmas, which is kind of nice. So clove is amazing. This is our immune booster. It helps fight free radicals in your body. So free radicals, you may have heard, they cause disease, they cause damage to your body. Nothing good comes from them. And so antioxidants are the fighting forces behind that. So you hear a lot that you're supposed to eat foods really high in antioxidants, like carrots or blueberries. All of our food is measured on an antioxidant scale. Carrots measure somewhere around 200 on that scale. Blueberries, I believe, are about 2,500. Clove is at 1,078,000 on the antioxidant scale. So this is some serious stuff. So, I mean, I use this, I mean, it'll protect you from seasonal threats, all kinds of things. Airplanes, it's perfect for travel.
Yes.
We've got the little roller ball of these. So these are great too. These are just in the little, it's already diluted with some either coconut or jojoba oil. I'll take the On Guard and put it up my neck or even just down my spine to help with immunity, to help support it. You take it on an airplane. I make a hand sanitizer with it and take that everywhere with me. You know, teachers, doctors, children, but anybody who interacts with humans needs this. Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Lavender too. Lavender will help with that as well. So yeah. So clove is a pretty strong one to use. So okay. Any questions so far with the way we're using them and how we use them? Yes.
Yes. Does it matter which way you use them? Do you get the same benefits whether you put them on your tongue or on your skin?
You're getting the benefits every way you use them. I do think that using them internally, you're going to get a bit of a stronger boost, just because it doesn't have to work to get through the skin and work to get through any of those barriers. So that's kind of something to keep in mind. You know, you maybe don't need as much. You know, you just need a little drop or something like that. So yeah, absolutely. So the next little bit with essential oils that we've just kind of barely touched on is how much they can help with emotional support. So most oils have an emotional component to each one that you can use it for. And we actually, I mean, they teach an entire class on this. So I'm just going to kind of generally introduce you. These oils here are specific blends that we've come up with that are, their names are kind of, you know, indicative of what they do, but we'll go into them a little further. This one is Peace, so we'll pass that guy around. It's calming, it's soothing. You're going to want to use this when you're feeling anxiety, stress, overwhelm, things like that. And Peace is just a fantastic blend. I had all this. Let's see.
It's got vetiver and lavender base.
There we go.
I smell pepper, and that's like,
The vetiver. Mm-hmm.
yeah.
I had written down all the little blends in there. Yeah. So this one we've got lavender. It also has ylang ylang, frankincense, and clary sage too. So that's a fantastic oil. The next one I have is Forgive.
This one's heavy with the trees.
Yes,
Tree base.
very pine.
What was this one?
This is called Forgive. So it's strong. It's one that definitely, yeah, a little bit at a time. So certainly, you know, if you've got some personal blocks you've got to work through, if anyone's feeling critical or resentful, things like that, you want to go for your Forgive. Really helpful for that. And so yeah, so that one has the strong, it's got the spruce, juniper berry, and myrrh, so some of those fragrances. So our next one we'll do is Motivate. And this one is really nice when you're feeling sluggish, when you're feeling kind of out of it. I like this one for procrastination. You know, when you've got all those tasks to do and you keep putting them off, I go grab my Motivate. That one's a nice one.
This one blend of peppermint and citrus, both very invigorating.
Yeah, absolutely. Keeps you going through the day. It's a good one to put on when you wake up in the morning as well. All right. The next one we'll do is Console, and I love this one. This one's very soothing, very comforting.
This
obviously for, yeah,
It's going to have a lot of traditional essential oil smells like sandalwood, patchouli, rosemary.
Yeah, this might, if any of you, brings you back to some hippie days and things like that, the patchouli and the sandalwood. But it's great, loss, grief, but even things like, man, you had a rough day, or you just had a fight with your spouse,
Instead of a glass of wine.
Right.
Drops.
There you go, exactly. I also use this, when I had my grandfather's funeral recently, I put a fairly good amount on myself, and then when I hugged everybody, they got a little whiff of aromatherapy with their hug and rubbed it all over my grandmother, things like that. So it's a good one to keep on hand. So next one is cheer. This one's very bright, very joyful. Some people smell bubblegum. You pick up all kinds of different fragrances in that one. So definitely if you're feeling down, you're feeling gloomy, you're having an Eeyore day, you want to grab your cheer. And this one has wild orange, clove, star anise, nutmeg, vanilla. This sounds like we should make some muffins with it or something, doesn't it? Some cheer muffins. So that one's really nice. And then the last one I'm going to pass around is passion. This one's really fun.
It's not a favorite in a lot of instances. I find that quite a few females don't care for passion unless they smell it with forgive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Which is, a really great blend. And that's part of the, does it? So that's one of the things with these oils, they're designed to kind of bring an emotional stimulation. So people have strong reactions to these. So there is a theory about this where if you're really drawn to one of these oils, it often means you kind of need it in your life. But also, and a little bit counterintuitively, if you're kind of like repelled from one of them, it may also mean that you need it. You've got like an emotional block going on. So like, if you're working on forgiveness with somebody, you may have a hard time with that oil. And then as you work through that in your life, you may find that it grows on you, just as sort of an example. And then coupling them, as we talked about with the passion and the forgive, it makes a lot of sense, right? A lot of us have had our hearts broken and we need to forgive before we can be open again. So for passion is good, of course, it's good for intimacy, but it's also good for things like taking risks, having confidence, maybe reintroducing you to something you once loved and maybe haven't been able to feel that spark with anymore. And I also find with these oils, well, all of them, but these ones specifically, kind of use your intuition a little bit. Trust yourself on where to use them. I find myself sometimes putting passion on my stomach to like fire in the belly kind of thing. Peace, I for some reason always seem to want to put it right at the base of my skull. That's just me. Or, forgive and console, I'm always rubbing it over my heart. And you'll just find yourself being drawn to do those things. And it's, again, if you're just using a little caution, maybe a little carrier oil, it's safe to do that. So as you can see, there are tons of ways you can integrate these oils into your life. Again, we were really just scratching the surface. There's more oils. We've got some over here that we didn't talk about. You can go and check out as well. But it just gives you amazing tools to use. And if one oil doesn't work for you, generally speaking, there's 4 or 5 other ones that will be able to step right in. So it gives you a lot of versatility. And then, we always find that anytime you're using these oils, you come up with anybody who has something going on, you're like, oh, I've got an oil for that. Oh, I've got an oil for that. So it's just a great thing to have kind of in your arsenal at home. So that's kind of just a general overview of essential oils, and you're welcome to play, and we'd love to chat with you more. We've got tons of resource books over here you can look into, and then I don't know, does anyone have any specific questions they want to ask at this point?
Drawings?
We're going to do our drawing, absolutely, yes, right there.